Good evening, Virgo. I hope you're doing great. Um, Friday 3rd, what's actually urgent, not a date on a calendar, not some predicted event that may or may not happen, not consuming content before a deadline someone else invented to keep you hooked. What's urgent is you finally addressing the thing you've been avoiding, the conversation you haven't had, the decision you keep postponing, the pattern you recognize but won't interrupt, the truth you know but won't speak. That's the emergency, the one happening in your real life, in your actual present moment. That doesn't give a damn about what day it is. So forget Friday, forget the 3rd, forget 2026 as if it's some mystical marker. What matters is today, what you know right now, what you're refusing to face while you're busy looking for readings to tell you what's coming instead of dealing with what's here. Sound familiar? Write down what you've been avoiding if you're ready to stop running. Because here's what I'm actually picking up in the energy around you. There's a choice point approaching, not on a specific date, not tied to some astrological event or numerological significance, just approaching because you've been building toward it through the accumulation of circumstances that can't continue as they are. Something has to give. Something has to shift. Something has to be decided or released or confronted because the holding pattern you've been in is reaching its expiration. And you know this. You've been feeling it building. That pressure in your chest that shows up when you're alone and quiet, that restlessness that no amount of distraction fully silences, that knowing that whispers, this can't go on, even as you keep going on with it. You've been hoping it'll resolve itself, that circumstances will shift without you having to make hard choices, that someone else will do something that lets you off the hook from having to do what you know you need to do. But it's not working that way, is it? The situation's still there. The tension's still building. The choice you're avoiding is still waiting for you to make it, and no reading, no matter when you watch it, is going to make that easier. No prediction about future events changes the fact that you have something in your present that requires action. What is it? What's the thing demanding your attention that you keep deflecting? Get specific below. Because let me tell you something about deadlines and urgency. When spiritual content creates artificial time pressure, watch before this date. This will happen by the weekend. You must know this before the full moon. It's manipulation. It's designed to hijack your nervous system, to create false urgency that makes you consume content reactively instead of consciously, to keep you coming back, checking in, staying hooked, because maybe this time the prediction will give you the certainty you're craving. But real guidance doesn't operate that way. Real wisdom says, here's what I'm seeing, here's what might be useful for you to consider, here's how you might approach this with more consciousness. Take it or leave it. Use it when it serves you. Ignore it when it doesn't. No pressure, no manufactured deadlines, no false emergencies, just information offered and your autonomy respected. So I'm not going to tell you that something specific happens on April 3rd. I'm not going to promise that watching this before Friday changes anything about your outcomes. What I will tell you is there's energy moving in your life. And the sooner you start engaging with it consciously rather than hoping it resolves itself, the better positioned you'll be to navigate whatever emerges. Does that feel more honest than a fake deadline? Let me know if you appreciate the difference, because here's what might actually be building. Momentum around something you've been working on, thinking about, or positioning yourself for. Not guaranteed to manifest by any specific date, but approaching a threshold where internal effort could start producing external result, or clarity about something that's been confusing. Not arriving as sudden revelation on a particular Friday, but emerging gradually as you keep processing, questioning, and paying attention, or consequence for choices you've been making. Not as punishment delivered on cosmic schedule, but as natural outcome of patterns you've been running finally reaching their logical conclusion, or opportunity presenting itself. Not because the universe scheduled it for early April, but because conditions you've been creating are starting to align in ways that make certain things possible. Any of these could be in motion. All of them could be relevant. None of them respect arbitrary calendar dates. Which one resonates most with what you've been sensing? Share what's actually happening in your reality. Because I want to address what you're probably looking for in readings like this. Certainty. You want someone to tell you exactly what's going to happen so you can stop living with uncertainty, so you can prepare, so you can control your anxiety by knowing what's coming. And I get it. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. Not knowing is harder than knowing, even when what you know is difficult. But here's the problem. Certainty about the future is a lie. Nobody has it. Not me. Not any reader. Not any system or modality or practice. What we have is pattern recognition, energy tracking, probability assessment based on current trajectories. We can say, if you keep doing what you're doing, this outcome becomes more likely. We can say there's energy building around this area that suggests movement. We can say, pay attention to this because it feels significant. But we can't give you the certainty you're craving. And pretending we can just to make you feel better is dishonest. So instead of looking for predictions that promise to eliminate uncertainty, what if you developed capacity to live with it? To make choices without knowing exactly how they'll turn out? To trust yourself to handle whatever emerges instead of needing advance warning? That's the real work, not collecting predictions, but building internal resilience that doesn't require knowing the future to feel okay in the present. Can you shift from seeking certainty to building capacity? Think about what that would require and share, because here's something else that's probably true. Whatever you're worried about, whatever you're hoping for, whatever you're trying to predict, it's probably not going to unfold exactly how you imagine it. Reality is more complex, more surprising, more multifaceted than any prediction can capture. So even if I could tell you exactly what happens on April 3rd, which I can't, it wouldn't prepare you the way you think it would, because you'd still have to live through it, still have to respond to it, still have to navigate the emotions and choices and complications that emerge in real time. And how you do that, how you show up when things happen, how you respond from center instead of from reactivity, that matters more than knowing in advance. That's what actually determines outcomes. Not what happens to you, but how you meet what happens. So instead of fixating on future dates and potential events, focus on building the qualities that serve you, regardless of what comes. Groundedness, the capacity to stay centered when things get intense or uncertain or scary. Discernment, the ability to distinguish between what's yours to address and what's someone else's responsibility. Courage, the willingness to make hard choices even when you're not completely certain they're right. Resilience, the capacity to handle disappointment, surprise, difficulty without falling apart or giving up. Those qualities serve you infinitely more than any prediction about specific dates ever could. Are you building those or just consuming content? Be honest about where your energy is actually going. Because let me talk about what interesting reading actually means. It means entertaining, it means compelling, it means designed to grab and hold your attention. And there's nothing wrong with that. Entertainment has value. Compelling content serves a purpose. But don't confuse interesting with important. Don't mistake entertaining for essential. Don't let the hook of an intriguing title make you think you're getting information you can't live without. You can live without this reading. You could skip it entirely and be fine. Your life wouldn't fall apart. You wouldn't miss some crucial window. You wouldn't fail to receive some essential message, because the real messages, the ones that actually matter, they find you. They show up in your lived experience. They emerge through your relationships, your challenges, your moments of clarity, your direct knowing, not through content consumed to meet artificial deadlines. So if you're here, if you're reading this, if you're engaging with this material, do it consciously, not reactively, not because you think you have to, not because some deadline created false urgency, but because something in you resonates with this approach, because direct honesty serves you more than comfortable predictions, because you're ready to engage with your life actively instead of just trying to anticipate it anxiously. Why are you actually here? What are you really looking for? Get honest in the comments, because here's what I think is true for a lot of people reading this. You're tired. Tired of uncertainty. Tired of not knowing. Tired of trying to make sense of complicated situations with incomplete information. And you're hoping, really hoping, that someone with some special access to information you don't have will just tell you what's going to happen so you can finally relax. But that hope is keeping you stuck, because as long as you're looking outside yourself for certainty, you're not developing your own internal knowing. As long as you're collecting predictions, you're not building trust in your capacity to handle whatever comes. And that trust, that deep knowing that you can navigate life without needing to control or predict every outcome, that's what actually creates peace. Not knowing what happens on April 3rd, but knowing that whatever happens, you can meet it. Not having advance warning about every challenge, but having confidence in your ability to respond skillfully. Not eliminating uncertainty, but developing such groundedness that uncertainty doesn't destabilize you. That's the shift that actually matters. That's the work that actually serves you. Are you willing to do it? Or are you just going to keep consuming predictions, hoping the next one finally gives you what the last 100 didn't? Answer honestly. To yourself, if not to me. Because ultimately, here's what this comes down to. There's no special significance to April 3rd. There's no cosmic event scheduled for that Friday. There's no spiritual emergency requiring you to watch this before some arbitrary deadline. What there is your life happening now, requiring your attention and your choices and your courage in this actual moment, not in the future you're trying to predict, not in some upcoming date that you're either hoping for or dreading, but right now, today, in the situation you're actually in, with the people you're actually dealing with, and the choices you're actually facing. That's what deserves your focus. That's what requires your energy. That's where your power actually lives. So stop looking for predictions about future dates and start engaging with present reality. Make the call you've been avoiding. Have the conversation you've been postponing. Set the boundary you've been delaying. Take the action you've been overthinking. Not because something magical happens on Friday, but because you're ready, because you're done waiting, because you're choosing to engage with your life instead of just trying to anticipate it. That's the real work, not consuming content, but living consciously. Do that. Starting now, not starting Friday, now. I don't sell futures, I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now,